Hey y'all, it's Diana from the Dianaverse, and I am here today to do the full moon in Aquarius forecast with you. Reminder, if you like to see these videos and you want to get notified when they come out, be sure to like and subscribe. That way you'll get a notification sent to you. It can sometimes take me a minute to get it on all the social medias. Also, someone told me there's a way to leave a tip on YouTube if you feel inspired because you like these. I just found out about this, so I have to look into how that works. I can't tell you the details of how that works right now. But I do put several hours into each of these videos, and if you enjoy them and you feel so inspired, of course they're always free, but if you want to leave me a tip, I'm not going to complain about that. All right, some upcoming things that I have going on. I'm starting to plan a workshop for either late September, most likely October, depends on when the rain starts. It's going to be a deep dive into Hawthorne. It will be a 2-day class, so I'm letting you know way ahead of time to start thinking about having some time available. Haven't set the exact dates because I want to look at the astrology for the dates and pick the best dates for that. You can let me know in the comments below if you're in the Seattle area and you're interested in that. Are weekends better? Are weekdays better? I'm not sure. Everyone's got different schedules these days, so I want to try to include anyone who would really be interested. We'll be doing a deep dive on the folklore of the May Queen in the fall. It'll be switching batons, so to speak, with from Brigid to the Kaliach, and we will be talking about the folklore of that, the folklore of the season, including Samhain, which will be a little bit before Samhain, so you can kind of have that in your toolbox if you celebrate. And we'll be processing the berries, the fruit. We'll be talking about the medicine, food aspects. We'll do a plant journey with the plant, and we will also do some natural dyes with it. We're going to just explore all kinds of aspects of a very strong plant in the season where it is traditionally gathered and very useful. Today, by the way, on this full moon is Lughnasadh, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right? It's an ancient Celtic festival. I'm exploring my family ancestry, which goes back to the largest part is in the Scottish Isles, of various descendants, because all those little countries over there in what we call the UK had a lot of people coming and going in there. So from what I can tell from the DNA, which is not a complete story, we've got Scots, original Scots, also some Norse, and possibly some people who filtered in from what they call the northern lowlands in Europe, which is sort of like Belgium, northern France, could have been Huguenots. I haven't been able to trace that all back quite that far. The sun is really doing a number there, which is fun in a way, but maybe distracting. And so I'm really interested in these Celtic festivals. So Lughnasadh is named after the god Lugh, who was a god of light. So that goes along with, the first day of August. You've got the summer, you've got all this light, right? And so it's also the time of first harvest, so it's very associated with agriculture. He was throwing a festival for his stepmother, and so he did this by having games, right? The Highland Games. You always see around this time of year, and that's associated with this holiday, even if a lot of people don't necessarily associate it with the deities in modern times. Let me try to adjust that a little bit. There we go. It's a little better. So, yeah, when you see the Highland Games in your area, it's usually around this time of year, right? So it's associated with the god Lugh, who is supposed to be very athletic and a great warrior. So if you celebrate, harvest something and bless it with the sun and enjoy. I did a deep dive with berries lately because I have berries in my yard, which is way more berries than I would be able to afford at the store, and it's just really fun to explore all the different ways that I can capture that sunlight. You know, berries are kind of the quintessential summer plant, right? You always see them in the summer, and when you taste them, it just brings back that feeling of abundance of the summer and the harvest. So I wasn't sure what plant to use for this month, so this is a little bit at the beginning of the forecast, but I encourage you to seek out some local berries and enjoy them. Berries are extremely good for your health. With all that sunshine that they gather, they have a lot of anthocyanins usually, which are fantastic for your veins. So load up on those, freeze some, have a handful throughout the summer or throughout the winter to maintain your circulatory health, even when we're in the cold months where we might not be quite as active. So, on to our moon. We have the full moon in Aquarius. The full moon is always opposite the current sun position because we have the sun in Leo. Happy birthday to all you Leos. I am a Leo. My birthday is coming up quite soon, and I always celebrate. My friends know I do a birthday month, right? Because I just want to celebrate being on this planet for the whole month. So happy birthday to all my Leos out there. So our dynamic tension is between Aquarius and Leo. Now, Aquarius can be, you might have heard, very progressive, sees the long-term big picture, and Leo is more centered on the self and what I want in the moment. It's more spontaneous. And so you can juxtapose these two opposite qualities to get through whatever you've got going on in your life right now. So sometimes Aquarius is so fixated on the idea that they lose their spontaneity and forget what they're doing in the first place. Why do they have this plan? And so if you're finding yourself a little stuck or a little rigid in the plans that you've got going on, you can tap into some of that Leo sun energy that we've got going on right now and find a way to be a little more spontaneous. Aquarius can be holding things on its own because it's sure of the ideas it has. You might want to use some of that Leo energy to connect with the loved ones in your life and kind of get some feedback, and it can help you tweak your plan. We've also got Venus in Leo this summer, and she is retrograde now. She went into retrograde just recently. And when she went into that retrograde, an interesting thing about it is she has a finger of God pointing at her going into this retrograde. So a finger of God, I'm not going to get too technical, but it's when there's a planet at the tip of the finger, you know, well, I can't do a triangle with my fingers. All right, I won't try to do that. So you've got Venus up at the apex of that triangle, and then it's got two legs, right? And the base of that triangle at certain equal degrees are two other planets, and they're like sending rays pointing towards that Venus. And so that's why they call it a finger of God. It's like, boom, you know, X marks the spot. The interesting thing with this particular one with Venus is that one part of that base of that triangle is Pluto. And it's Pluto, which has gone back a little bit into Capricorn. Well, if you remember a year and a half ago when I did a whole course on Venus retrograde, and it was in Capricorn, and it was in the winter, she was in Capricorn at that point. So now you've got this Pluto that's pointing at her that's in that Capricorn. So we're seeing developing changes based on the things that were going on about a year and a half ago. What were you changing? What was your idea of what you were going to build? Capricorn is the builder sign. And how is that being still carried through to where you are now with this Venus in Leo, where you're thinking about like your values and your resources and your connections to people, your heart connections? And how is this kind of a continuation of what you were building? And the other planet that's at the bottom of that is this Neptune in Pisces. So what were your dreams? What were you imagining was going to happen, right? And you want to kind of tweak this and maybe go over those plans. See if they're still working for you. If this is really taking you in the direction that you were thinking it would take you in back a year and a half ago. Venus is retrograde, so it's kind of a review of all of these things that are going on in your life. She's going to be in retrograde until September, and then she'll still have a shadow period where she comes out. So we've got some time to go over this. And she's going to be Kazemi with the sun. Oh, there goes, that sun is moving. It moves fast, doesn't it? This is astrology happening right before your eyes. Let's see if nope. There. I'll probably have to move it again. So you want to kind of think about, because she's traveling with, because she started with this finger of God, she's going to be traveling with reviewing all of these things as we get to all the way into September. So you've got some time to rethink, readjust, loosen up some of those Aquarius fixed ideas. Aquarius is progressive, but then it can get fixed on that idea of what it's doing. So this Leo sun helps you loosen that up and kind of be a little more playful with it. It's also like you have your foot in two worlds, right? You've got your foot in your personal desires and the things you want to do for play and how you want to connect to people, and you've got this other foot in this other sign of Aquarius, which I don't feel like colder is the right word. It's more analytical, right? You can see the bigger picture. So of course it's not going to be quite as emotional about that. But that can be more your long-term plans. But you've got a foot in both places. And so if you don't want to do the splits, right, you've got to figure out how to keep the dynamic tension between both of these things. And if you want to know more about how that affects you personally, you can always go to astro.com and pull up a chart. You'll need your birth time to figure this out. But you can see what house these transits are falling in for you, or how they might be affecting your natal planets. And then it gives you a better idea of what area of your life this is happening in. Of course, it's going to be more dramatic for the fixed signs. Leo and Aquarius are both fixed signs. The fixed signs are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. So if you have major planets in any of those signs, it's going to affect you probably more dramatically. Pluto is always about transformation, and it doesn't always care how it gets there. Pluto transits are known for being a little rough. So ultimately, whatever you have to let go of to reach your heart's desire, it's gonna work for you in the end, but it might not be fun to get there. So if I go the other way now, nope. Traveling with the sun. That's the Leo I am here. There we go. Yeah, so that's going on. We've got Mercury. It's going to go retrograde. Everybody knows about Mercury retrograde. That'll be later in the month, but it is going into the shadow period this week. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. Mercury is in Virgo. It's one of its home signs where it's really comfortable. It rules Virgo. So this could be a great time over the rest of the month, let's say, to go over any detailed kind of things that you've been putting off. So if you've got bookkeeping, if you've got letters you need to write, people you needed to get in contact with, things to do with mercantile endeavors, so business type things where you've got, buying and selling and negotiations or bookkeeping again. All those detail-oriented things that Mercury can be involved with are really going to be highlighted. If you've been putting any of that off, you could really work on that. This would be a great time to get that all in order. So it's not retrograde yet, so things aren't going kablooey. just yet, but got a couple weeks to be proactive, work on it before it has to get your attention, right? What else is going on? That's interesting. So, in line with that Aquarius long-term plan, you can be a perfectionist. So, the traditional ruler of Aquarius was Saturn. Saturn right now is in Pisces. Pisces is a little messier. It's a water sign. It's more about the collective. So whatever your like perfect plan is, it's going to have to bounce off of reality. It's going to have to work for other people. It's not going to just be as easy as having your perfect plan. So leave some room for adjustments, leave room for delays, leave room for pressure of getting it done faster than you want to, right? And maybe not having it be absolutely perfect. And if you can be a little bit flexible, I think that Sun in Leo and the Venus in Leo and the Sun and Venus are gonna go kazemi and kiss each other later in this month. So all of that more playful energy, I think, can help shake up anything that's getting a little too heavy. I know I've been so freaking busy lately, and I think a lot of other people are too. And so leave a little room for play in your life to help balance that out so that you don't burn out. Aquarius is an air sign, it can be running on fumes. So leave yourself a little time to stoke that fire with a little connecting time, a little play time, so that you have the energy to keep going with all of your mental projects. All right, I think that's about it for this lunation. Hope you got something out of that. If you got stuff going on for you, mention it in the comments. I love to hear about things. For the stone friends this month, I wanted to suggest several different options, right? Because Aquarius wants to see all the options. And I couldn't decide. So I have Aquarius rising, so yeah, it's hitting me there too. I've got this opposition all my life that we're having right now. So yeah, there you go. So I think a green stone, like the classic stone for Aquarius is aquamarine, and the stone for the classic stone for Leo is peridot. So they're both sort of greenish, green bluish. So you could go with either of those depending on what you need more of in your life. If you need a little more structure or you need a long-term plan, maybe go with the aquamarine to accentuate that Aquarian energy. And if you need a little more playfulness, a little more heart-centered kind of energy, you could go for that peridot or any green stone. Green is the color for the heart chakra. So those are good. If you need a little more fire energy for this fire season that we're in, you could go with a stone that's more fiery in nature, like citrine. That's a good one for financial, for drawing the fire to you where you need to build a fire. So citrine is good for that. And you can put these on your altar. I hope y'all are building a little corner altar somewhere, or I have a big table under my bedroom window. Let a little light into things. I was making an oil with Grandelia last week, and it's a very fiery plant. You know, it's Asteracea's yellow bloom, so I put my oil out in the sun. I don't always do that because the sun breaks things down, but you don't leave it out there for a long time when you're doing that. And then I'll heat it later to burn off the water. But anyway, I'm rambling on about my own projects. So yeah, keep in mind for this fall, if you're in the area and you want to do this Hawthorne class, this full moon could be kind of dynamic. You know, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. It's like lightning, so there could be some surprising stuff that happens, or just things that happen quickly. So be careful if you're out driving or out in the world doing things. You know, don't move too fast. Don't want to have that lightning strike. And yeah, I hope that you have a great couple of weeks. I hope you have a exciting full moon, not a dramatic one. And I will see you again in 2 weeks for the new moon. Until then, take care, friends. All right. Bye-bye.